Hi everyone, Jess here, and today I'm joined with Bill Carleton, Director of Advanced Recognition Systems at NEC Corporation of America. Remember, if you guys want to see any more exclusive material, don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bill.
Jessica, good morning, and thank you very much for having me.
An absolute pleasure. So, for those of you who don't know, NEC has a huge portfolio. So, Bill, if you could perhaps give some context for NEC and how they work with airports.
Absolutely, happy to do so. And thank you very much for the opportunity. We're looking forward to coming to the World Aviation Festival and being a part of the organization and the excitement around the event. NEC is a very large global multinational corporation headquartered out of Tokyo in Japan, over 120 years old. And we work on technology and professional services and investments and research and development spanning anything from underground and undersea fiber optic cables carrying a bulk of the world's internet traffic throughout the oceans, all the way up to satellites in the sky and a lot of things in between. Our team's focus is primarily around the use of biometrics and use of biometrics and especially facial recognition technologies to boost and enhance passenger and customers' experiences and airline and airport personnel to help streamline the passenger's journey through the airports, a topic that has become a little bit more forefront of mind given the past couple of years where everybody was not traveling, and the sense for more hygienic means of experiencing a journey through the airport and the ancillary services that are provided from airports and airlines.
Absolutely. So there's loads of us to touch on today with that, and like you said, the pandemic had a huge role in catalyzing adoption. So I'm sure we'll touch back on that in a second.
It did, yes.
Could you start by sharing some examples of how airports have been leveraging technology to improve the passenger experience in recent times? So maybe if we narrow it down to sort of post-COVID.
Sure, absolutely. And it started a little bit prior to COVID as well, as air traffic and travel, both in the business and leisure sectors, were kind of enhancing and growing year over year. Airports found themselves in a situation where space is a commodity, and how do they get people from the land side of it into the air side, the secure zones, safely, securely, and where a lot of the retail and economic gains can be had by lingering passengers waiting for a flight or departure or arrivals or transit through a busy hub. Following the pandemic, the profile of the travelers has changed significantly. It's more leisure travel. People were tired of being pent up, and it's fewer business travel. Businesses realize that over Zoom or Teams calls such as this one, we could conduct a lot of business. So the business travel has been a little bit slower to pick back up, but it is on the rise again. So given this, airports and airlines as well alike, since they work together in those environments, are investing in technologies to streamline passenger operations, to streamline the luggage handling process. There's been some issues, at Heathrow, out of your home airport. Unfortunately, some negative press the past year due to staffing shortages. And those types of capabilities where it impacts the passenger's experience greatly and provides a negative context to what used to be pretty glamorous air travel. And last thing anybody wants going on vacation or even a business trip, as a frequent business traveler myself, is disruptions. So they are looking heavily, and a lot of the airports are investing heavily, and airlines as well, on how do they prevent, or when a disruption does happen, how do they recover quickly and with least impact to the travelers.
Absolutely. And you mentioned there the sort of post-COVID aspects of it. Could you touch on anything to do with flow management, or how are we seeing technology be used post-COVID now?
Sure, there's a couple of different technologies, both with hard biometrics such as facial recognition, a little bit difficult in Europe, where GDPR regulations drive kind of what can be done or cannot be done, and some soft technologies, using LiDAR-based systems, spatial awareness systems, so in airport lobbies, determining crowd density in queue management, queue wait times, helping the airports to determine where do they need to apply personnel to help reduce the queues and security lines. Where do they need to invest in more facilities changes to add more security lines, to put the personnel to the right places so that people can get through the airport a little bit quicker, a little bit easier, all with safety and security still in mind.
Absolutely. So you've 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 given a lot of insight into the way things are changing, and there's obviously a lot going on in this sphere. What are some of the exciting trends in airport innovation that you're looking forward to seeing at the event?
We'll obviously have some of our own innovations that we'll be bringing and showing at the event, but it's always good to see what our competitors and friendly cooperation are up to as well. So it's an exciting event. It's a very large, diverse population that's attending it. So we're looking forward to interacting with some of the decision makers, C-suite executives, all the way down to the working levels who actually truly make a lot of the decisions on what needs to happen throughout the airports and airlines, and kind of talk to them what are their problems that they're facing. How can NEC help solve and innovate beyond what we're currently doing?
You're quite right there. One of the great things about World Aviation Festival is having the sort of representatives across the ecosystem and
Yeah.
really fusing relationships across these. So, how do you think the World Aviation Festival helps to catalyze innovation specifically?
So it's a very good question, and I think it's really by what you stated, bringing together both the executive levels and travel technology companies and pretty much everyone in between who kind of helps make things work, both front house and back of house in the airports, in the airlines themselves, through some of the ancillary travel industries, rental cars and hotels, train systems, which is a little bit bigger and more effective throughout the Europe and Asia sectors than it is in the US, for example. So it's really bringing together all those executives, the working levels, the people in between and the companies that kind of helps catalyze that innovation. Just having conversations and talking about what are the problems being faced in this region or that part of the world, and how indifferent they really are across those regions kind of helps companies such as NEC to determine where can we invest in our research and development to help solve those problems and spurn and help catalyze some innovation around the World Aviation Festival.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing you there in just a couple of weeks.
We're looking forward to it as well. Thank you very much.